Okay, we finished putting our transactions in the transaction log. The next step is to create our journal entries. The journal entries will allow us to record the increases and decreases in each account into our accounting records. But before we do that, we need to understand how do we record an increase or a decrease in each account. So to do that, we need to look at first the natural balance. So when we look at our asset accounts and our accounting equation, we see that assets have a natural debit balance. Liabilities have a natural credit balance, and equity has a natural credit balance. Stock, which increases equity, has the same natural balance as equity, a credit. Dividend decreases equity, so it has the opposite natural balance, or a debit balance. Revenue increases equity, so it has the same natural balance as equity, or a credit. And expenses decrease equity and have the opposite natural balance of equity, or a debit. Assets have a natural debit balance. So if we want to increase an asset, we need to debit the account. Conversely, if we want to decrease an asset, then we need to credit the account. Liabilities have a natural credit balance. If we want to increase a liability account, we need to credit the account. If we want to decrease a liability account, we debit the account. Equity has a natural credit balance. So if we want to increase the account, we credit. And if we want to decrease the account, we debit. Stock, which increases equity, has a natural credit balance. If we want to increase stock, we credit the account. If we want to decrease stock, we debit the account. Dividends decrease equity, so they have the opposite natural balance, or a debit balance. If we want to increase dividends, we debit the account. If we want to decrease dividends, we credit the account. Revenue increases equity and has the same natural balance as equity, a credit. So if we want to increase revenue, we credit the account. And if we want to decrease equity, we debit the account. Expenses decrease equity. They have the opposite balance from equity, or a debit balance. So if we want to increase expenses, we debit the account. And if we want to decrease expenses, we credit the account. We're going to keep our chart nearby as we start our journal entries so that we can reference it if we have any questions. In the next video, we will start our journal entries.